Pump diagnosis is primarily performed by evaluating the operating efficiency. In addition, voltage and current are checked to assess the pump's condition and identify possible damage. If the measured total head and flow rate are found to be improper, the pump may be damaged, and continued operation under such conditions can lead to energy loss. This video introduces 3 key steps. 1. How to measure the total head. 2. How to measure the flow rate. 3. How to evaluate pump efficiency using the performance curve. Let's start from total head measurement. The head can be converted between units of height, such as meters, and units of pressure, such as kilopascal, as shown here. 1 kilopascal nearly equal to 0.102 meters. For example, when the pressure in a water pipe is 100 kilopascal, it corresponds to the force required to lift water to a height of approximately 10.20 meters. When it comes to pump, the total head means some pressure of suction side and deliver side. These can be checked with pressure gauge. Total head of pump is the maximum capacity how height that pump can raise water at certain flow rate. In case of on-land pump, the pressure on suction side is always negative because water is pumped up by vacuum pressure on this side. When calculating total head, absolute value of suction pressure shall be used. This is showing the example of on-land pump at the water treatment plant. In the field, you might see the pressure gauge is not installed at suction side as this picture. In this case, the pressure of suction side can be calculated by the elevation gaps from water level to pump. Normally the elevation gap is less than 5 meter. Here, let's suppose it is 3.5 meter. The pressure of deliver side can be known by reading pressure gauge. It's required to install the gauge if the gauge is not there. Let's read the result, it's 0.09 megapascal. In metric units, this equals 9.18 meter. Now we can calculate the total head of this pump with recorded data. As shown here, it is 12.68 m. In the case of a submersible pump, the basic theory is the same as just explained. The suction pressure is calculated by the elevation gap from pumping water level to the deliver pipe. For measuring the well water level, rope-type water level meter is widely used. A rope-type water level meter operates by sounding a buzzer when the sensor at the end of the rope comes into contact with water. The rope is lowered until the sensor reaches the water surface, and the water level is read using the scale marked on the rope at the moment the buzzer sounds. Practically, inside a production well has only narrow space due to pump cable, riser pipe joint thread are equipped. Therefore, it is not recommended to measure in well which has not enough clearance for meter to avoid tangled up or stacking. This work should be handled carefully. As second part, starting the introduction for pump flow rate measuring. Pump flow meter is normally got by flow meter reading. This image shows a water meter, and the smaller dials, the little red needles, are used for precise measurement of smaller water volumes that are less than 1 cubic meter. For example, when it takes 12 seconds to measure 0 to 10 at times 0.1 measures, that means 3,600 over 12 equal 300 cubic meter per hour. In some cases, the flow meter may not be installed at pump system. As an alternative methodology, pump flow rate can be measured by letting water flow into a tank or reservoir and observing the change in water level together with the cross-sectional area of the water surface. However, since it is difficult to control the fluid precisely, this method is less accurate than using a flow meter and should be treated only as a reference value. It is possible to incorporate this methodology at water treatment plant. Shut off the valve right after filtration so that water can be reserved in the basin. By observing the water level and time, the flow rate can be calculated. Most cases, several pumps are running simultaneously, and there are multiple filtration basins at the plant. To make it accurately, those conditions should be considered. Finally, how to evaluate pump efficiency using the performance curve. To evaluate pump performance, the necessary data is total head and flow rate which were collected in previous process. Additionally, performance curve shall be exquisite from manufacturer's data sheet. Check the model type on the pump to get the performance curve. Here, total head is 12.68 meters, flow rate is 298.8 cubic meter per hour. On the datasheet, this green curve is the performance curve of this pump. When the obtained data is plotted on it, the point is almost on that green curve. It can be said the pump is working as it should be. If the plotted point was away from green line, means the pump is deteriorated and performance is not good enough.